As always, I love to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and peace and blessings unto the elect. Alright, so I want to do this lesson on the story of Adam and Eve, really going into, if they were eating a fruit or a literal apple when they were in a garden. Alright, this question was asked me by our brother. So I'm just gonna go into it, and hopefully you brothers and sisters are edified. This is a picture that I got off of Google, because we know, of course, Adam and Eve, they were, Adam was a so-called brown-skinned man, and so was Eve. Not sure how dark they were, doesn't really matter, but we know that they were people of color, right? According to the scriptures. All right, so I'm going to go into it. This is Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 3 and verse 1, it says, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which Yahweh power had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden?" Which this serpent was actually a man, right? The serpent was a part of a nation. You see what I'm saying? Because there were other nations around during the time of Adam and Eve, right? Because it says here, the serpent was saying, the Lord said, you can't eat of every tree of the garden, which the trees represents the other nations. That's what the tree represents. The tree represents the other nations, which I'm going to go ahead and get a few precepts on that. Just to prove that, because what we've been led to understand and to believe growing up in the Christian church, or even if you didn't grow up in the church, we grew up hearing about Adam and Eve, the apple and the tree, right? We literally think that it was an apple on a tree that Eve picked, or the serpent was seducing Eve to eat an apple off of a tree. No, that's not what that's talking about. The tree or the trees represents other nations, right? But that tree in particular, that the Heavenly Father didn't want Adam and Eve to be eating that fruit or learning their ways, philosophies, their actions, was a particular nation, right? So now let me go ahead and get Daniel, the 4th chapter, right? Because this is how you read the Bible, precept upon precept, right? To understand what are the trees. The trees represents men. The trees represents the other nations, right? So now this is Daniel chapter 4, and let me see, I'm going to start with verse 19. It says, "Then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, was astonished for 1 hour, and his thoughts troubled him. The king spake and said, Belteshazzar, let not the dream or the interpretation thereof trouble thee. Belteshazzar answered and said, My lord, the dream be to them that hate thee, and the interpretation thereof to thine enemies." Verse 20. The tree, all right, listen. So now Daniel is expounding to the king his dream. It says, "The tree that thou sawest, which grew and was strong, whose height reached unto the heaven, and the sight thereof to all the earth, whose leaves were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all, under the beasts of the field dwelt, and upon whose branches the fowls of the heaven had their habitation. It is thou, O king, that art grown and become strong, for thy greatness is grown and reached into heaven, and thy dominion to the end of the earth." So you see that? So the dream that the king had, or because the king saw a tree in his dream, and he's wondering, okay, what is this tree? So Daniel told him that you are that tree. You see what I'm saying? Daniel said, you are that tree. So when you read the Bible, right, trees can be likened unto men. See what it says in the NLT. Right, see that at the top it says Nebuchadnezzar's dream about a tree, but Daniel told him that tree is him. It says, right? Verse 20 says, the tree you saw was growing very tall and strong, reaching high into the heavens for all the world to see. It had fresh green leaves and was loaded with fruit for all to eat. Wild animals lived in its shade, and birds nest in its branches. That tree, your majesty, is you. For you have grown strong and great. Your greatness reaches up to heaven, and you rule to the ends of the earth. You see what I'm saying? So, boom. So now let's go ahead and grab this in the book of Judges. All right. Judges, the 9th chapter. Right. And we're going to read. We're going to start verse 7. Yep. Judges 9. We're going to start verse 7. It says, and when they told it to Jotham, he went and stood in the top of Mount Gerizim and lifted up his voice and cried and said unto them, hearken unto me, ye men of Shechem, that the Heavenly Father may hearken unto you. Verse 8, the trees went forth on a time to anoint a king over them. And they said unto the olive tree, reign thou over us. But the olive tree said unto them, should I leave my fatness, wherewith by me the honor of the Most High and man, and go to be promoted over the trees? So by this, we should know that this is not talking about literal trees. Trees are literally talking to each other, saying, yeah, be a king over the rest of the trees. No, this is talking about men, right? This is talking about actual men. So now, just to keep going, verse 11, it says, but the fig tree said unto them, should I forsake my sweetness and my good fruit, and go to be promoted over the trees? Then said the trees unto the vine, come thou and reign over us. And the vine said unto them, should I leave my wine, which cheereth the Most High and man, and go to be promoted over the trees? Then said all the trees unto the bramble, come thou and reign over us. And bramble said unto the trees, if in truth ye anoint me king over you, then come and put your trust in my shadow. And if not, let fire come out of the bramble and devour the cedars of Lebanon. Verse 16. It says, now therefore, if ye have done truly and sincerely, and that ye have made Abimelech king, and if ye have dealt well with Jerubbaal in his house, and have done unto him according to the deserving of his hands, for my father fought for you, and adventured his life far, and delivered you out of the hand of Midian. So you see that? So this is talking about Abimelech, right? He's talking about Abimelech being king over Israel, right? Over here in the book of Judges. You see what I'm saying? Which I believe he was the son of, what's my man name? Gideon. Yup. Yeah, this was Gideon's son. Yup. Jerubbaal. Right. Yup. Yeah, and Abimelech, the son of Jerubbaal, which Jerubbaal, that was just another name for Gideon. Yep, Jerubbaal was just another name for Gideon. But you see, the point is, you had that parable about the tree, right? The tree reigning over his brethren, or over his brothers, and that tree represent Abimelech. So that shows you that when you read the Bible, you have to remember that the Bible speaks in code, the Bible speaks in similitudes, right? So the tree represents men. Now let's get Mark chapter 8 and verse 24. It says, Sarah, and he looked up and he said, I see men as trees walking. See that? I see men as trees walking. So boom. So that's what the tree, or the tree in a garden, represents. Men, different different nations, right? So let's go back. Right, to Genesis 3. It says, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which Yahweh power had made. And he said unto the woman, yea, have the Most High said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden, which eating meaning to internalize the ways, or internalize the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, or the ideologies of that particular nation. All right, it doesn't literally mean that you're taking an apple. You got a knife and fork. You have your bib, and you're literally eating. Let's go ahead and get this. Revelation, the 10th chapter, and the 9th verse. It says here, and I went into the angel and said unto him, give me the little book. And he said unto me, take it and eat it up. And it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. So is the angel literally telling John to eat a book? No. Right? That's talking about eternalizing it or learning it. That's what that means. Let me go ahead and go into the word for eat. Let's see what it says. It says, all right, devour, literally or figuratively. See that? So, it says to utterly consume. See that? To consume. Right? So this is just a metaphor for learning, right? Devouring it, because when you read the scriptures, the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding can be likened unto food. And what do you do with food? You devour it, right? Especially if it's good food, right? You're gonna be scarfing it down. You go ahead and grab a precept on that. This is the book of Sirach, the 15th chapter, right? And verse 3. It says, with the bread of understanding shall she feed him, and give him the water of wisdom to drink. See that? So with the bread of understanding shall she feed him, and give him the water of wisdom to drink. See that? So when you read the Bible and it talks about eating this roll or eating this book, right? It's not literal. It's just talking about learning, internalizing it, right? Now let's go ahead and grab this in the book of Ezekiel. I believe Ezekiel, the 2nd chapter, right? Ezekiel chapter 2. No, Ezekiel 3. Yep, Ezekiel 3 and verse 1, it says, moreover, he said unto me, son of man, eat that thou findest, eat this roll, and go speak into the house of Israel. And this is the angel telling Ezekiel to eat this roll, but it's not literal, right? He's not literally about to take a roll and eat it, right? That'll be right. That's not smart. This is a metaphor, meaning internalize it, right? Learn and go and teach your people. Verse 2 says, so I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat the roll. And he said unto me, son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. So now let me see what it says in the Hebrew. Let's see if it gives, a better definition, right? In the Hebrew, let's see, it says to devour, right? Cause to eat or consume. See that? Consume. And what we do is consume this word. Let's see what consume means. See if there's a good definition for consume. Right? It's just to eat, ingest, right? And we ingest this word. Right? It says to take. Yep, to take in. And that's what we do. Yep, we take in the word by what? Learning it. All right, by reading it. Right? See that? To scoff down, to stuff one's face with. Yep, that's right. That's right. Because again, this truth is likened unto food. Right? Oh, look at this, to drink. All right, consume, to drink. And our Lord said what? Let's go ahead and grab St. John in the 7th chapter. What did our Lord said to do? Come unto him and drink. St. John chapter 7. No, matter of fact, St. John chapter 4. Let's go ahead and grab this. This is St. John chapter 4 and verse 13. It says, Yahushua answered and said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. See that? So it's dealing with the understanding, the knowledge. Right? So boom, now we got that out the way. Right, the eating aspect. All right, because this isn't no apple, right? That Adam and Eve ate, and that's what caused them to get kicked out on the land of Israel or the Fertile Crescent. Nope, that's not what it was. So now let's go ahead and go back to Genesis, the 3rd chapter. See that? All this coming from one verse. Because, man, the book of Genesis is deep. All right? The first like 4 chapters, is real deep. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of knowledge that go with this. In the church, they don't have the answers. Or they just pull shit out of their ass, But that's why a lot of our people, they say that the Bible is a fairy tale book. Because hey, if you listen to the pastors, the way that they break it down, you would think that this is some nonsense. So you know what I'm saying? So but this is Genesis 3:1 again. So now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which Yahweh power had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. Yeah, like we may partake and the other nations' philosophies and ideologies, right? But verse 3, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High have said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. But this tree in particular, this nation in particular, we are not allowed to consume of their ideologies and doctrines. All right, because that's what the fruit represents. All right, different ideologies, different principles and doctrine that nation uphold, right? Let's go into the word for fruit. It says here, produce of the ground, fruit of actions, all right? Fruit of actions or produce, right? Which, let's go into what actions mean. Or action, it says deed, okay? Deed was another way of saying deed is what? Your ways, right? It says performance. See that? Your ways, your behavior, your conduct. Okay, because whatever your moral compass is, right? That's how you're, that's how you're gonna act, right? Whatever your moral compass is, that's going to determine your behavior, how you're going to be conducting yourself as a individual or a nation of people. Right? That's your principles, right? Which that's what principle means, right? Principle, it says a fundamental truth or proposition that serves as the foundation for a system of belief or behavior or for a chain of reasoning. See that? Right? A fundamental truth or proposition that serves as the foundation for a system of belief or behavior or for a chain of reasoning. So your beliefs, right? And you see here it says, it just said it, philosophy, right? Morals, right? Moral standards. Philosophy was just here. See that? Philosophy. Right? Your idea. You see? And same thing for ideology, right? A system of ideas and ideals, especially one which forms the basis of economic or political theory and policy. And you see here it says persuasion, teachings, beliefs, ideas, principles. See that? So that's what the fruit is going into. Ideologies, your principles, your belief system. So whatever this nation of people, their ideologies, their belief system, we're not allowed to consume it. The Heavenly Father don't want us to consume it, right? And that's what we see our people doing now, man, consuming the different ideologies and the different philosophies of the so-called white man, which, at this time, the serpent or the nation of people that the Heavenly Father didn't want Adam and Eve to learn from, they weren't white people, because there wasn't white people in the garden then, or there wasn't no white people then, right? But the spirit that was within that nation was the spirit of the so-called white man, though, right? Just like Cain. Cain, he wasn't a white man at first, but but the Heavenly Father put in that curse on him, right? Turned him into a so-called white man, being depleted of his melanin. So yeah, so that serpent and his people, they were dark-skinned Edomites. Okay? They were chocolate-covered Edomites. So boom. So Genesis 3 and 4 again, it says, and the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. Man, you ain't gonna die. And that's Esau. All right, that's the so-called white man. Man, you ain't gonna die. You gonna be good. All right, ain't nothing finna happen to you. You gonna be all right. All right, this is Psalms. All right, this is a fundamental scripture right here. We all know this. Psalms 55 and verse 21. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. It says his words were softened than oil, yet were they drawn swords. You see that? Man, you good. Right? Listen, you gonna be all right. You're not gonna die. All right. The Most High, he doesn't know what he talking about. All right, just just go ahead and learn of what I got going. But then he in the background, he in the background seeing you be destroyed. That's why the scripture says, never trust thy enemy. Right, like it says in Sirach 12 and 10. But I'm jumping down to verse 16. It says, an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips. See, an enemy speaks sweet with his lips. Man, you ain't gonna die, man. Eve, you ain't got nothing to worry about. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart, meaning his mind, he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with his blood. All right? So that's what the enemy does. All right, he speaks very sweet with his lips. So now, back to Genesis 3 and verse 3 again, it says, but of the fruit of the tree which in the midst of the garden, the Heavenly Father hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Verse 4, and the serpent said unto the woman, you shall not surely die. For the Most High know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open. Yeah, you're going to be enlightened. And ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Yeah, because at that time, Adam and Eve, they only knew good. Right? They only knew good. They didn't know evil. Just good. Verse 6. It says, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. Now, what does it mean by when it says that the woman saw that the tree was good for food, it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree to be desired to make one wise? I mean, it was, it sounded real good. It sounded real enticing. And that's what it goes into. Oh, Salakia, I jumped the gun. I had other precepts to get. Salakia. I had other precepts to get. Right here. Salakia. Let me go ahead and grab these real quick. This is Hosea 12 and verse 13. This is going back to the fruit. It says, ye have plowed wickedness, ye have reaped iniquity, ye have eaten the fruit of lies, because thou didst trust in thy way, and the multitude of thy mighty men. This is the Lord speaking to Israel. See that? It says, ye have eaten the fruit of lies. Right? Other philosophies, other ideologies, other doctrines. You see that? So again, that's what the fruit is going into. See that? The fruit of lies. Right? Other ideologies and doctrine. That's what the Lord is getting on us for. Right? See that? Retribution for Israel's sin. Right? Which is what? Mainly idolatry. Right? Seeking after other gods. This is Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 19. It says, hear, O earth, behold, I will bring evil upon this people, even the fruit of their thoughts, because they have not hearkened unto my words, nor to my law, but rejected it. So if our people was not hearkening to the words of the Most High, nor to his laws, but was rejecting it, what was they doing then? They were hearkening to the philosophies of other nations, right? The fruit, right, of these other nations, right? This is Jeremiah chapter 17, And verse 10 it says, I Yahweh search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit or the actions of his doings. You see that? And if you're doing not what's right in the eyes of the Most High, that means that you're following some other ideology, some other fruit, not the fruit of the Most High, right? So boom. So I had to bring those out. Salakia, y'all. So I was at Genesis 3 and 6 now. It says, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, all right, it looked good. It was enticing, right? And that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise. She took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. That's right. And when you fast forward to modern day, right, the fruit or the ideology of the serpent is what? The women's rights, right? Women rights, right? Oh yeah, women go to work. Oh yeah, you don't gotta serve your man. You're not slavery, right? On the LGBTQ movement, you know, all those philosophies, all those ideologies. It sounds good, right? It sounds enticing, and of course there's many more. The black woman is God, right? All these things, all these ideologies that our people falls victim to. It sounds very good. Let's go ahead and grab this now. Grab a few precepts on that. Matter of fact, I don't need these anymore. So now this is Proverbs. Proverbs, the 6th chapter, right? And verse 23. It says here, for the commandment is the lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the ways of life. So it says the reproofs of instruction are the way of life. Dealing with the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Why? Verse 24, to keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman, with these other ideologies. Verse 25, lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids, because it sounds good, it looks good. These different ideologies, these different doctrines, it sounds and it look good. Oh man, that sounds good over there. Damn. Shit, you know what I'm saying, man? Man, I can eat my shrimp, my crab legs, my crab cakes. Yeah, that sounds good right there. Oh man, the black woman is God. What? We're really, we're really supposed to be dominating over the man. Yeah, that sounds good. Oh man, I'm a man, and if I feel attracted to another man, I can go sleep with that man. I like that. Yeah, yep. That sounds good. You see what I'm saying? That's really how it be with these other people, or all these other philosophies, all these other doctrines. It sound good. It's enticing. It look good, right? Oh man, I can do whatever I want. This fit my lifestyle, right? So now let me go ahead and get this. This is Proverbs, the 7th chapter, which is Proverbs 7. This is a lot right here. Proverbs 7, I'm going to start with verse 4. It says, say unto wisdom, thou art my sister, and call understanding thy kinswoman, showing you that the wisdom is like unto a woman, right? Now why? Why should wisdom be your sister and understanding thy kinswoman? Verse 5, that they may keep thee from the strange woman, from the stranger which flattereth with her words, right? For at the window of my house I looked through my casement, and beheld among the simple ones, I discerned among the youths a young man void of understanding, passing through the street near her corner, and he went the way to her house. Now this is all symbolic now, right? In the twilight, in the evening, in the black and dark night, and behold, there met him a woman with the attire of an harlot and subtle of heart. She is loud and stubborn. Her feet abide not in her house. And this is not talking about a woman of another nation. Verse 12. Now is she without, now in the streets, and lieth in wait at every corner. So she caught him and kissed him, and with an impudent face said unto him, I have peace offerings with me. This day have I paid my vows. Therefore came I forth to meet thee, diligently to seek thy face, and I have found thee. I have decked my bed with coverings of tapestry, with carved works, with fine linen of Egypt. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us fill our love unto the morning. Let us solace ourselves with love. So we see how this woman is speaking, is seducing. All right, this strange woman is trying to seduce this young simple man, right? That doesn't know any better. She's trying to catch him. She's trying to trap him up in her ways. That's how these different philosophies are, right? Hey, look, I deck my bed with coverings of tapestry, the fine linen of Egypt. Man, I have perfumed my bed. Smell good. Got the myrrh, got the cinnamon. It smells so sweet. And back in ancient world, that was a big thing. It's like now, you say, yeah, man, I got the Dior Sauvage, got the Gucci, I got the Chanel. You know what I'm saying? Verse 19, it's enticing, right? It's enticing to go. Verse 19, for the good man is not at home. He is gone a long journey. He have taken a bag of money with him, and will come home at the day appointed. With her much fair speech, she caused him to yield. With the flattering of her lips, she forced him. See that? With the fair speech and flattery of the lips. That's how these other philosophies and doctrines are. It's enticing. It seduces you with their ways. Whatever individual or whatever a man or a woman like. Oh, this fit what I like. I'm gonna go and get with this. You see what I'm saying? Now let me see. All right, boom. Verse 22, it says, he goeth after her straightway, as an ox goeth to the slaughter. See that? As an ox goeth to the slaughter, because going to these different ideologies and different doctrines, right, is going to get you killed. All right, the Heavenly Father, he's not with that. It says, or as a fool to the correction of the stocks. It says, till a dart strike through his liver, as a bird hasteth to the snare, and knoweth not that it is for his life. Hearken unto me now, therefore, O ye children, and attend to the words of my mouth. Let not thine heart decline to her ways. Go not astray in her paths. Why? For she cast down many wounded, yea, many strong men have been slain by her. Her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death. Talking about these other philosophies and doctrines, right? It's going to lead you to die. All right. Hey, because if you're into different ideologies and doctrines, what is that? Idolatry, man. You're worshiping a whole nother God. You're worshiping a whole nother God, which that's idolatry. And the Heavenly Father, he doesn't like that, right? He abhors that. Okay. So that's why it says here in Genesis that the woman saw that the tree was good, it was pleasant to the eyes, tree to be desired to make one wise. And because whatever was the ideologies of the nation of the serpent was, right, it sounded good to her. So, oh wow, I like that. I like that right there. That sounds good. That sounds better than what all these other trees got going, or what these other nations got going. Yeah, I like that. I like this food right here. This is good. Right? Verse 7, it says, and the eyes of them were both open. Yeah, they were enlightened. It says, and they knew that they were naked, and they shewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. Now, when it says that they were naked, it doesn't mean that they were literally naked. All right? They wasn't literally naked. It means that they didn't have that righteousness on them anymore. All right, let me go ahead and get a few examples of that. Right? Let's go ahead and get Exodus. Right? See this example. Right? They were in sin. Right? They were in idolatry. Now this Exodus 32 and verse 22 says, and Aaron said, let not the anger of my Lord wax hot. Thou knowest the people that they are set on mischief. Verse 22, verse 23 says, for they said unto me, make us gods which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. And I said unto them, Whosoever hath any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it me. Then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf. It says, and when Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies. How? By through sin, through idolatry. And that's what Adam and Eve was in. They were in sin. They were in idolatry. Right? So that's what the shame is going or I mean, that's what the naked was going into, right? Into sin. All right? That's what it's going into. Right? They didn't have that correct garment on. Right? They were into idolatry, they was into other ideologies. This is Revelation, the 16th chapter, and verse, let's see where we at. Revelation chapter 16 and verse 15, it says, Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked. See that? Lest he walk naked. You walking in sin. And they see his shame. See that? And they see his shame. So you want to keep your garment, which that garment is dealing with righteousness, and that's what Adam and Eve didn't do. They didn't keep their garment. All right, they were walking in sin. Right, verse 8 it says, and they heard the voice of Yahweh, power walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh among the trees of the garden. Yeah, so they try to hide themselves among the other nations. And the voice of Yahweh that's dealing with the prophets of the Most High. Let's go ahead and grab that. And Luke, the first chapter. Luke chapter 1 and verse 7, he says, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began. You see, that's how the Lord speak, by the mouth of his holy prophets. The prophets are the mouthpiece of the Most High. This is Hosea chapter 12 and verse 10. It says, I have also spoken by the prophets. See, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. See, that's how the Lord speak. Right, through the ministry of the prophets. Now let's jump to the 6th chapter. And this is gonna be it, you know. Hosea chapter 6 and verse 5, it says, Therefore have I hewed them by the prophets. I have slain them by the words of my mouth, and thy judgments are as the light that goeth forth. See, that's how the Heavenly Father hew our people, by the prophets. All right. Yeah, so you know that's really it. You know, with Adam and Eve. All right. They didn't eat an apple. The fruit was dealing with the different ideologies and doctrines, right? So, hopefully, Yahweh Tazah, you brothers and sisters were edified. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Al Shai. Mawaf La Babal Shalom.